having this trust in yourself that you will overcome creates this level of fulfillment, of happiness, of gratitude, of appreciation. All right. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mindset Mastery. If you can, go ahead and check on in. And again, I want to thank you for joining me today. And I got a subject here that's been on my head, in my head, and on my mind. And I think it'll serve all of us, right? To just remind ourselves of what we've been through, what we've had to overcome. And, regardless of what comes our way, there's only one way, is to get back up. And sometimes when these betrayals, these lies, these individuals that come to hurt you, sometimes it's hard to be in that place. It's just difficult to continue to stay positive about certain situations, especially when it's those closest to you, those that you've entrusted over the years, those that you've told every secret to, those people that you hold near and dear, only to find out that there was always they were conspiring against you. They were out to hurt you. You were never a priority in their life. And this could be in relationships. This can be in a business relationship. It could be a family member, right? And sometimes I think we put too much emphasis on the fact that they are family. So we tolerate certain individuals, their mindset, their opinions, just because they are family members. And, I think every one of us have reached a moment where we've all been betrayed, maybe lied to or hurt. And what ends up happening in that place is that, we end up staying there, right? We don't grow from a perspective of this was meant to happen so that it can help us and serve us later on in life. And for me, I put out a video. It seemed to be a very popular video about just the arrogance of my ignorance, right? Early on in my life as a teenager, I was involved in a drive-by shooting, and it really rocked me to the core. I mean, I was in a place where I nearly died, and being in this dark place, trying to recover, and all the people that I thought were my friends, where I just didn't hear from them. All the people that I thought were there to support me, I never heard from them. It was just like another day just occurred. I wasn't on their mind, and it hurt. It hurt because there I was fighting for my life, and then to realize not a lot of people are there when you do get knocked down. It's very few. And but from that place, it did teach me a lot about, first of all, it made me aware of my ignorance, right? About my mindset, my thought processes, my actions. It really just put the light on where my life was headed. If I didn't get to this point where I was, rocked to the core and was able to be in this place of darkness. Like that was the only way I could see the light, was being in this extreme place of darkness. And it also made me aware that I just can't trust many people. People will let you down. People will not be there when you really need them to be. And of course, being in this place, I didn't know how to comprehend that. I didn't know how to process that. So it really it shut me down. Just because, one, I was fighting for my life, fighting to overcome all these surgeries, and then being in this dark place where I thought I was all alone. And I realized that it's going to happen, and the people that I put the most emphasis on, my friends, they let me down. And I think we've all been in that place in one way or another, right? And then I experienced this again in business when, as I was doing my advertising, when I was really just trying to build here in real estate, I was doing television ads, radio ads, newspapers. I was just creating a lot of leads. And I brought in two other individuals that I thought were there to so that we can grow this together. And that was always my thought process, right? Let's do this together. And little did I know that they were conspiring to, team up themselves and go against me on the very TV, radio, and newspaper ads that I was doing, right? So they got all my contacts, and next thing you know, like I'm competing with them on the very same channels, which took me a long time to be able to get into a process that worked. How to be able to turn a client from a prospect to an actual client. Every process that I used, they were using as well. The tactics that I used to get people to make calls and to sign up for my programs, they were doing everything exactly, right? So that felt like, again, I couldn't trust anyone. And then my own brokerage at one point, took a huge account that didn't belong to them. Right. And they lied to the account holder. They didn't let me know that they were going after the same account that I felt entitled to. Right. But again, that's just my thought process. Maybe they thought something different, but I felt, again, very betrayed. So again, I started secluding myself more and more and more because I felt like anytime I let people in, it's only a matter of time before I get betrayed. And what I didn't realize back then is that every hardship that I went through was actually forging me to become better, to be able to see the signs, to be able to foresee problems, and to better protect myself. One part of building a business is to also protect it so that I could sustain long term, so you can continue to grow and expand from there, right? It requires different skill sets. It's not just about growing. It's about like building a wall of protection around your business, making sure that it just doesn't crumble at the moment you get these hardships. And it also hardens you for life in general, to withstand and knowing that it's human behavior to be lied to, right? That somebody's going to come in your life and really just betray and lie to you. But because you've built up this wall of protection, it won't rock you to the core. It won't allow you to crumble everything else that you've built. So these things have taught me from an early age that, they're human. I can't expect more from them than who they are, right? If they're not in this place of constantly improving themselves, then they'll look for the easy path. They'll look for the path of less resistance, and sometimes taking something from someone else seems to be that path. But in the long term, the person that is done to, if they look at it from the right perspective, like I have, it really just molds me to continue to move forward and trust myself that, if I continue to move forward and grow and see the lesson that is being taught, I will prosper long term. And that's what's occurred, right? So like I have no ill will to the people that have done me wrong, that have lied to me. And in my case, try to kill me and also try to take from me. I hold no ill will. In fact, I've said this many times. I'm so thankful for them. I'm thankful for the hardships. I'm thankful for the lessons. I'm thankful for them guiding me, right, to the darkness. Through their actions, I was able to go through the darkness so that I can see that glimmer of light, so I could see that glimmer of hope in the horizon and learn the lessons on how to get out from the dark to the light. And for me, I have nothing but love. Every one of those individuals. And I've ran into some of these individuals over the years, and I have no hate. I have no ill will because I see the bigger picture. They were the messengers that I needed to wake me up, to change my mindset, to change the arrogance of my ignorance, to be able to better protect what I've built. Without those individuals, none of that would have happened. I would have continued to be on this roller coaster of the peaks and the valleys. But because I stayed still in that darkness, because I was able to navigate through that place alone, am I able to see the bigger picture of it all? There is no ill will. There's nothing but extreme love and appreciation. Like every one of those individuals changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my life. But I would have never realized that if I would have just stayed there, a victim to, of wondering what could have been if I would have got the account, what could have been if I didn't fight for my life, what could have been if I wasn't lied to and betrayed to. You stay there. When you think of what could have been, you don't grow. You stay there. And I'm so appreciative of those individuals. I thank the antagonist. I thank them all. And this is the way we got to look at it, where we have to be able to see the beauty of it all, the true happiness of it all. And I was reminded of this as I was watching a UFC fight, of all things. And it really just, the speech that one of the fighters said after the fight really just struck a chord. And just to give you a little bit of background, it was a championship fight, and the two fighters was Alex Pereira, which was the current champion, against Israel Adesanya. And if you're a UFC fighter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm going to say this where everyone can follow me here. You don't have to be a fan of the UFC. You don't even have to follow the fight. But Israel Adesanya was a longtime champion. He defended his belt about 7 times, I believe, before finally losing it to this one fighter, Alex Pereira. And one thing about this is that there was a history there between the two fighters. Before they came to the UFC, they were both competitors in a kickboxing league. And in this league, Alex Pereira got the best of Israel Adesanya. As a matter of fact, he knocked him out the first time they fought. The second time they fought. And the first time, it was a decision. The second time, he got knocked out. And then Israel Adesanya came to the UFC and became a champion. And lo and behold, his nemesis from this kickboxing league also joins the UFC. And so there goes the fight, right? The fight was earlier this year, or late last year. There was a fight between the two. The same person that beat him twice is now challenging him for the belt. And, you know, Israel Adesanya, he's confident, he's very skilled. He came into this and said, okay, I'll take him on. Regardless if I got beat twice, I'll take him on. And he was doing really good throughout the entire fight. And towards the end of the fight, he got knocked out. He got knocked out and beat pretty bad. So this guy now has 3 fights over him. Like, this guy is his Achilles heel. This guy, he just can't get beat. And when you're at that level, you know, it's not just your own thoughts that you have to deal with. It's the thoughts of others, of strangers, of fanatics, of fans, right? Of individuals that have their opinions. Even, you know, they even laugh. And I saw a lot of comments over the months about them laughing at Israel and saying that he'll never be able to beat this guy, Alex Pereira, that he has his number, that this guy, that's it for him. His UFC career is over, right? He's got to move on because now there's a new champ in town. So he's 3-0. So just imagine, okay, going up against your nemesis that has got you beat each and every time. Even when you thought you had overcome the darkness, here comes a right that you didn't see coming. And next thing you know, you're waking up again in this darkness of losing to your nemesis. And that's exactly what occurred. So they agreed to a 4th fight. Israel wanted to, regain his title. And I can only imagine, I mean, there's got to be a certain level of doubt, right? If somebody has your number that constantly beats you or outwits you or makes you feel a certain way, knowing that if you go into a certain situation, like they're going to get the best of you. Like they just know your moves, right? And this could be family members too, like them making these comments or bringing up the past. You as a child, you as a teenager, where it always seems like they have your number, where it emotionally distresses you, where it takes you off your game, right? All you can think about was the comment they made or how they were able to get another listing over you or just a number of things. And here you are going to have to battle him again. And it was one of the best fights that I've seen. And as a matter of fact, after I watched it Saturday evening, I watched it again Sunday morning, just because it was so inspirational. And the fight was tough. The first round, it could have gone either way. But one thing that Pereira had on Israel Adesanya was he knew how to weaken him, blow by blow. Like he was calf kicking him again and again. And after a while, it's going to break you, right? That's the foundation you rest on. And he started doing that over and over again. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen again, right? And in the second round, with about 40 seconds left, Pierre had him against the ropes, right? And against the cage, I should say. And he starts attacking him. He hit him with a kick to the calf, and then he starts really just overwhelming him. And it was very much like the last fight. And then at the last minute, as he's looking like he's losing, he comes in and does a combination of punches. And it seems surreal. Because even when they were playing in slow motion, when he did this combination, they looked like it was sped up. It was that fast. And that, on point. You know what I mean? Where it was so, the hits landed so cleanly and so quickly that I felt the cameras couldn't even keep up with it, because it seemed like it was going in regular motion when the whole thing was slow motion. And he ends up knocking him out. And it was just an amazing, to be witness to this was amazing in the fact that he had all that resilience, especially when you have a person that has beat you many times before. And this is the way we have to look at it. I mean, there's family members that have got one over us, right? Or every time we see them, it seems like they just always find a way to trigger you or trigger us. And we got to look at it from a perspective that, all those many times that they've beat us before, it's molded us. But we can't forget that. And I'm going to go ahead and read you his post-fight speech, because I thought it was, again, very inspirational. Just watching it live was just amazing because of the precision he had, because of the speed he did it at. And just to the overall outcome and how he felt so happy. Like you could tell he let out all this emotion after he won. It was like this pent up frustration, even doubt. Even the best of us doubt when we face our nemesis, when we face these challenges. And his celebration, I just felt his energy, and it was all there. It's like, yes, I got it. I beat all those naysayers. I beat my own mind, because my mind was conspiring against me as well. So I just felt all that. And I'll go ahead and read what he said, and then we'll discuss it. He says, I hope all of you can feel as happy I am just one time in your life. But guess what? You will never feel this level of happiness if you don't go for something in your own life. When they knock you down, when they talk about you, and they try to put their foot on your neck, if you stay down, you will never get that result. So he kept on emphasizing on happiness, right? Where do you get happiness? You don't wake up necessarily happy, right? I think happiness and fulfillment is a work in progress. Like, we have to continue to work at it. We have to overcome challenges to feel that level of happiness and gratitude. It's not from a place of holding back. It's not from a place of just thinking that you should wake up happy. It's overcoming obstacles. And I loved how he said that. It's like, you will never feel this level of happiness if you don't go after something in your life. And this is a fulfillment process, right? A process of also conditioning yourself to get the small wins every day so that you can be in a place where when these challenges, when these obstacles come your way, you're able to overcome. Is it going to be easy? No, not at all. But having this trust in yourself that you will overcome creates this level of fulfillment, of happiness, of gratitude, of appreciation. Just like I felt through all these individuals that I felt betrayed me or did me wrong. I have this level of fulfillment and happiness because I've overcome. And he says, fortify your mind and you will feel this level of happiness as you rise one time in your life. I'm blessed to be able to feel this again and again and again. And I love it because he continues to say, I'm doing all the right things that I can feel this level of fulfillment again and again and again. And there's some individuals that will never feel that because they never put themselves out there. And understand that you getting into a business, going into entrepreneurship, most people won't do that. And I think by you taking that risk and then doing something with it, building the skill sets, the mindset required to grow it year after year after year gives you that sense of happiness, of fulfillment. Like the things that are the most challenging to me, like I'm so proud of my marriage, right? I'm so proud of my family, of what I've accomplished because of the challenges and the person I needed to become to be able to operate at this level. And I'm able to feel that again and again and again. But if I roll back how I got there, it was just doing the right things each and every day. The small wins. The wins that don't necessarily make you fulfilled day after day after day, but compounded over time, that becomes your purpose. Then he goes on to say, he says, Alex, which is his nemesis, right? The guy that beat him 3 times prior. Thank you for all you've done. Thank you for beating me. Just imagine that. You go back to all those individuals, even the people that you're not talking to right now, and you're able to see the flip side of it. The people you cut off because you thought they did you wrong, they stole from you, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't back you up, they weren't there to support you. If you just say thank you, imagine how powerfully you would operate in life, not having that negativity riding on your shoulders. If you just thank them, maybe it's your ex-husband or your ex-wife. Maybe it's the individuals that just completely betrayed you and you said, thank you so much for beating me. Right? Thank you for winning that battle. Because at the end of the day, it's the war you're after, right? Winning the war. And all of us, I would say, are better because of that. Are more aware because of that. And we can't carry this negativity. It's a blessing. It's a lesson. It's something that made you better. And he says, thank you for beating me. Because of you beating me, because he beat me, he made me a better fighter, a better person in camp. I didn't mess around. I stayed on the grind and I put myself through it. It's amazing, right? Like, this guy is elite. And he said, because of this loss, it made me even better. He said, thank you for all you've done. Thank you for beating me. Because in beating me, he made me a better fighter, a better person in this camp. I didn't mess around. I stayed on the grind and I put myself through it. I thought that was brilliant. You know, these individuals are there as a blessing. Like, they exposed something in your life that you weren't doing. Like, I was able to put so many different systems in play because I was exposed to it. I didn't take things for granted. I kept my eye on the prize, on the ball, right? These individuals really helped me. And those that brought the biggest pain to me, the biggest hardships, were the biggest lessons. How this was one of those defining moments, each one of those. A defining moments where my life radically shifted because of them. So how can I have hate? How can I have ill will towards them? I just can't. As a matter of fact, I feel this entirely new level of happiness because of them. And we got to allow ourselves to be able to feel that. Thank you for putting me through this hardship. Thank you for the betrayal. Thank you for the lies. And this is where we got to let go to grow. We got to let go to allow ourselves the opportunity to feel that level of fulfillment and happiness. And sometimes that's the most difficult thing we can do. But I appreciate every person that I felt at the time were out to get me. They weren't. They were the messenger that I needed in my life. There was no other way to receive that message. I needed to feel that level of that depth of pain in order for me to be aware of it. And let's start thinking about what is it? What is it that we're carrying with us that no longer serves us? And how can these experiences actually serve us? I'm so thankful. The life that I live today was because of these hardships. If I didn't get hurt to the core, and then if I didn't rise above them, I would never be able to feel this level of fulfillment. I just know it. I know it to the core. I found so much. I found my wife. I found my purpose. I have God in my heart and soul. How could it be wrong? It was all meant to be. But I had to put myself through it, just like he said. I stayed on the grind, and I had to put myself through it. And that's where I am challenging you to put yourself through it. If we're not better because of that, we're not seeing the true lesson in it. You have to put yourself through it. He ends up saying, somebody asked him, there was an interviewer asked him, but as mentally strong as you are, were there any moments along the way where, the doubt creeped in? Like a little bit of doubt. Did it creep in? And maybe you thought that this guy just has your number. And he says, it normally happens, but I just know myself. I just know myself. And if you know yourself, no one else could tell you who you are. So I'm able to shut that out quick. Most people just can't do that. They let the negative self-talk sit in there and starts to weigh them down. But I've been through too much in my life to be able to let this kind of thing weigh me down. So whenever that little dirty lie tries to creep in, I tell it to shut the F up, and I keep going intensely. We've been through it before, and we know ourselves. What I've been through in my life is like, how can I not win? How can I not improve? I mean, I've been through the depths of darkness and pain. Everything that I have right now is like a walk through the park. How could I not appreciate? How could I not improve on what I have? How could I not wake up appreciative and focused? How could I not be happy? But again, the battle is not with those around you, is the battle with our mind. And the negative self-talk, right? He says they let the negative self-talk sit there and it starts to weigh them down. If I think about how my arm looks, mangled, destroyed, if I think about the mental warfare that I had to fight through the traumatic events, the post-traumatic stress, being in public, the anxiety that I would get, seeing that individual's face everywhere I went. If I think about that, I'll stay there. So I have to acknowledge that negative self-talk. I have to acknowledge that negativity. Otherwise, I would shut myself off. I wouldn't even push myself to grow and to learn from this. So I want to end this with just some things that I started thinking about of how I'm able to overcome this negative self-talk. And the first one is just that, acknowledge the negative self-talk. Like you gotta realize when you're there that you're being self-critical, that you're telling yourself lies. You have to be able to stop yourself from allowing that to fester and grow on you, because it could completely rock you off your day, off your week, off your month. And in my case, it was for months at a time. I would think about all the painful moments. So now it's like, as soon as they start creeping in, acknowledge them. And then the second part is to challenge it right away. Yes, I'm sure it hurts. Yes, I'm sure it was painful. But when you challenge it, you get to see a more realistic perspective, right? That, it's not the truth. They're all lies. You've evidenced too much in your life to be able to fall into that trap. And that begins the process of reframing your thoughts, right? Because now you're overwhelming yourself with all this negativity. If you don't stop it, if you don't challenge it, now we got to reframe it. Like, bring up all those examples of how it's made you better. Like every one of these individuals that I talked about earlier, the ones that betrayed me, like I thank them. I'm a better business owner because of them. And the people that I felt stole from me, I know how to better protect myself and my family. I'm just glad I learned that early on in my career and not as a 44-year-old man where I have more at stake, more money to lose. Like, I'm so happy it happened back then, so thank you. To those individuals that imposed the greatest harm to me physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, thank you. It woke me up. It made me see things that were not visible at the time. It made me open up and look for something greater in life. Without them, I don't think I would have ever found my purpose. So reframe your thoughts. Think about your accomplishments and what you got from it. You're better protected now because of them. And finally, just take action. That's the beautiful thing about it. Just do something that'll put you in alignment with what you're trying to achieve. And sometimes this negative self-talk is just trying to keep us away from not doing the things that we're supposed to do. So if we take action towards the things we know we should do, it's like now the playing field is even. Now we're fighting. As a matter of fact, we have the advantage because now we have all the evidence of our history. But I love all these lessons that I'm able to see. I love just hearing from champions in their respective markets, individuals that, go through the same roller coaster of emotions that you and I go through. And this is absolutely amazing. I feel so good and I feel so appreciative. I feel so fulfilled, and I hope you're able to feel the same way. But we got to put ourselves in a position to win. That means we have to put ourselves in a position where we're constantly challenging ourselves and can trust ourselves by just showing up each and every day. And I'm going to remind you, as simple as it is, focus on doing the prime 3 today. Work on yourself. Work on bettering yourself. And work on improving your business. I want to thank you all for joining me today. And I got Jermaine here. You can trust God and God only. I've experienced everyone walking out on me, and I mean everyone. Man, that is the worst feeling. And at that very moment when you feel all alone, like I had 0 friends. My own best friend, I didn't hear from him for months. As a matter of fact, when I was involved in the shooting, he was so much in shock that he just stood over me, watching me bleed out. That's hard. And if it wasn't for this other individual that just knew what to do, stop the bleeding, it literally kept me alive. But I can't carry that ill will, right? She was in shock. And maybe the months afterwards, he was in shock as well. I just knew I needed to move on. And that's all we can do. People are not going to respond the way we want them to. We can only respond what we're responsible for, and it's ourselves. And that's it. So thank you for that reminder, man. And I'm sure you're feeling this, Jermaine. An amazing journey. And I want to thank you all. Thank you, Claudia, Susan, Mary, Leonard, Ricardo. Thank you, brother. Rudy, I appreciate you. Shonda, Kelly. Who else we got? Beatrice, Sylvia, Jesse, my brother. How you doing? Daniel, what's going on? Arceli, Jessica, Marvin, and everyone else that joined today. I hope you absolutely kill the day. And remember, let's stop that negative self-talk and let's get things done. Thank you again for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.